Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a list that's close to my heart, and probably yours too if you've ever dreamed of crossing an ocean, or maybe already have. We're talking about serious, no-nonsense, battle-tested sailboats. Boats you can actually rely on when the weather turns, the waves build, and there's no land in sight for 1,000 miles. Now, I've seen a lot of boats out there. Some that looked pretty on the dock but would rattle apart in the first real blow, and others that just keep on going, mile after salty mile, no matter what you throw at them. This list is all about those boats, the ones you'd trust with your life, the ones that bring you home. Whether you're planning a big crossing, outfitting your dream boat, or just love to nerd out about tough boats with soul, this one's for you. So grab a coffee, or a cold one, and let's get into the top 20 most reliable boats for serious blue water sailing. The Hallberg-Rassy 42 is a boat that feels like it was built with long passages in mind. Step below and you'll notice it right away. The craftsmanship, the layout, the sense that everything has a purpose and a place. This isn't just a pretty boat for show, it's a cruiser's workhorse. She's got that signature center cockpit design that keeps you dry and secure, even when the sea's throwing a tantrum. Underneath, it's a solid, heavy displacement hull with a full-length skeg-hung rudder that tracks beautifully and gives peace of mind offshore. The motion is gentle, the systems are robust, and the joinery feels more like a piece of fine furniture than mass production. One of the things I love most is how quiet and steady this boat feels even in a blow. It doesn't rattle or flex, it just sails. The engine access is thoughtful, the tankage generous, and you'll find proper sea berths and solid handholds throughout. It's no wonder so many of these have done circumnavigations and long-term liveaboard duty. If I had to pick one boat that checks all the boxes for comfort, reliability, and offshore readiness, the Hallberg-Rassy 42 would be near the top. The Oyster 485 is like the Rolls-Royce of offshore cruising, elegant, powerful, and built to go the distance. When you step aboard, you feel like you're on a small ship, not just a sailboat. Everything about her screams confidence, from the robust deck fittings to the deep, secure cockpit and the high-quality finish down below. This is a boat designed to handle serious ocean miles with grace. She's got a powerful cutter rig that makes sail handling more flexible and manageable, especially for a short-handed crew. The hull design offers a sweet balance between performance and comfort. Fast enough to eat up miles, heavy enough to settle into the seas. Down below, she's got that Oyster signature. Bright, open saloon, well-appointed galley, spacious aft cabin. But it's not just about comfort. The engineering behind the scenes is top tier. Systems are easy to access and well-labeled. The electrical is neat and organized, and you'll find redundancies built in where they matter. These boats are often owner-maintained because they're built to be understandable and user-friendly. An Oyster 485 isn't cheap, but if you're looking for a boat to sail the world without compromise, she's a worthy contender. Don't let her modest size fool you. The Pacific Seacraft 34 is a heavyweight when it comes to blue water sailing. This boat is a proper cruiser, not a weekend toy. She's got a traditional look with her long keel, cutter rig, and classic lines, but she's far more than just pretty. That full keel gives you a boat that tracks beautifully offshore, doesn't get knocked around in confused seas, and can take a pounding without complaint. She's solid fiberglass below the waterline, with a hull and deck that are built like a tank. You feel safe inside this boat, tucked in and protected, not sprawled out and exposed. What makes the Pacific Seacraft 34 really shine is how everything's scaled for serious cruising, but still manageable by one or two people. You've got proper sea berths, real handholds, and gear that's sized for offshore, not oversized for show. There's enough tankage for extended passages, and systems are built with simplicity and reliability in mind. This boat might not win races, but she'll take you anywhere you've got the guts to go, and she'll do it without drama. For solo sailors or couples looking to go far on a reliable, no-nonsense boat, this one is a gem. The Contessa 32 is proof that you don't need a massive boat to cross oceans. You just need the right one. This is a boat that's earned its reputation the hard way, with decades of offshore passages and even a few circumnavigations under her belt. At just 32 feet, she's small by modern standards, but she punches well above her weight. The design is narrow, deep, and sleek, which makes her handle like a dream in heavy weather. She slices through waves rather than pounding over them, and when the going gets rough, she stays steady and composed while larger boats can get thrown around. One of the most famous Contessa 32s survived the Fastnet disaster in the 70s, which says a lot about how she's built and how she behaves when the ocean gets ugly. Inside, she's cozy, definitely not palatial, but she's got everything you need: secure bunks, a compact galley, and a trustworthy layout that works at sea. These boats were built strong, with heavy layup and simple systems. For budget-conscious sailors or those who value seaworthiness over flashy features, the Contessa 32 is a mighty fine choice for serious adventures. The Amel Super Maramu isn't just a boat, it's a full-blown cruising system. This French-built beauty was designed with one thing in mind: long-range, short-handed, offshore sailing. And it shows in every detail. From the electric furling sails to the walk-in engine room, this boat was made for people who want to cross oceans in comfort and confidence. One of the things that sets the Super Maramu apart is how everything's been thought through. You've got redundant systems, protected steering, watertight bulkheads, stuff you usually only see on much larger yachts. And it's not just safe, it's incredibly livable. The center cockpit is deep and well protected, the galley is secure and usable at sea, and the aft cabin is the kind of space you actually look forward to spending time in. The ketch rig allows for smaller, more manageable sails, and the boat sails steadily and reliably, even in tough conditions. Some folks gripe about the electric systems being complex, but many would argue that it's a fair trade for the ease and comfort it provides. Bottom line, the Amel Super Maramu is one of the most complete blue water packages ever built, designed for real sailors with big dreams. The Tayana 37 is one of those boats you spot in an anchorage and instantly recognize. Classic lines, heavy displacement, and a presence that says, "I've seen a lot of ocean." She's got that salty look, with a full keel and canoe stern, and she sails like a tank in rough conditions. I sailed with a buddy on his during a trip from Panama to the Galapagos, and it was like traveling in a floating fortress. Slow, maybe, compared to modern cruisers, but steady as they come. Below deck, she's got a cozy, old-school feel, lots of teak, a solid galley, and a warm, lived-in vibe. She's also got great tankage for long passages and plenty of storage for cruising gear. The Tayana 37 attracts a certain kind of sailor, someone who's not in a rush, who values character, and who wants a boat that can take a beating and still look good doing it. She's a favorite in the blue water world for good reason. The Kraken 50 is a modern take on what a blue water cruiser should be. Strong, safe, and smartly designed, she's built to go around the world without shortcuts. What sets her apart is the monocoque hull construction and integrated keel. The whole structure is designed to take a pounding and keep going. I toured one in Greece a while back, and I was blown away by how robust everything felt, from the solid rig to the watertight bulkheads. She's not just tough, though. She sails beautifully, too. Balanced, smooth, and responsive, she can eat up miles without wearing you out. The layout below is bright, spacious, and made for living aboard full-time, with every detail focused on offshore comfort and safety. The Kraken 50 is definitely on the higher end of the price scale, but for those serious about going the distance, whether it's circumnavigation or remote exploration, she's a serious contender. It's like owning a tank disguised as a luxury yacht, the Westsail 32. This little legend has probably done more to fuel the average sailor's offshore dreams than just about any other boat, known affectionately as the wet snail, because she's not the fastest, but she sure is steady. She's a full-keel, heavy-displacement cruiser that was built with one job in mind: crossing oceans. I've met solo sailors, young couples, even families cruising on these. I crossed paths with one guy in Tahiti who had just come in after 38 days from Mexico on his. He looked tired, but that boat looked ready to go again. She's compact, but there's enough space below for simple, rugged living. Not a lot of bells and whistles, but she's forgiving, and she'll keep you safe if things go sideways. The Westsail 32 is not about style or speed. It's about getting there in one piece with your confidence intact. If you want a boat that'll look after you even when you're exhausted, seasick, or questioning your life choices at 3 in the morning, this is your girl. The Cape Dory 36 is one of those boats that makes you feel like a real sailor the moment you grab the helm. She's got that classic look, graceful overhangs, full keel, and a reputation for handling like a dream. I remember crewing on one for a trip up the eastern seaboard, and even in rough weather she just felt calm and composed, like she was made for it. The tiller gives a direct feel, and her heavy displacement gives her a solid ride in a seaway. Down below, she's traditional, Plenty of warm wood, a snug but functional galley, and great sea berths. Everything's within easy reach, which is a blessing when you're bouncing around offshore. She's not flashy or big, but she's honest and capable. You see a lot of these with well-worn decks and proud owners who've crossed serious water. That says a lot. The Cape Dory 36 is a boat for sailors who want to rely on their boat the same way you'd rely on a good old friend. Not fancy, but always there when it counts. The Hylas 46 is a cruiser's dream. Strong, sleek, and surprisingly fast for a boat this comfortable. She's got a reputation for crossing oceans without breaking a sweat, and having spent time aboard one in the Caribbean, I can see why. Underway, she's well-balanced and powerful. You can feel her stretch out and take off when the wind's right. What's even better is how quiet and dry she stays down below, even in a good blow. The layout is well thought out for offshore life, a secure galley, roomy saloon, and a proper nav station. There's also great storage and tank capacity, which makes her ideal for long passages. She's got a modern look, but with the kind of build quality that serious cruisers respect. I met a couple in Antigua who had just come in from the Azores and said it was the most comfortable passage they'd ever made. 45 knot squalls and all. The Hylas 46 is the kind of boat that makes you look forward to the next 1,000 miles. The Swan 44 is one of those rare boats that blends speed, strength, and sheer beauty in equal measure. She's a performance cruiser at heart, but also a true blue water boat that can handle the worst the ocean throws at her. I once buddy-boated with one during a crossing from Bermuda to the Azores. We were in and out of squalls for 3 days, and while we were reefing down and holding on, the Swan 44 just glided ahead, balanced and composed. Her motion through the water is smooth and confident, and her deep fin keel and strong rig keep her on track in all conditions. Below deck, she's more refined than rugged, plenty of comfort and beautiful woodwork, but everything still feels practical and secure for offshore life. You'll find grab rails where you need them, solid cabinetry, and a layout that works underway. She's not a cheap boat to buy or maintain, but she delivers performance and safety in a way that few boats do. If you want to sail far and fast and look good doing it, the Swan 44 is tough to beat. The Najad 441 is a serious offshore cruiser that doesn't compromise on comfort or craftsmanship. I spent a few days aboard one while cruising the coast of Portugal, and I remember thinking, this is what a proper offshore boat feels like. She's solid underfoot. Everything from the decks to the interior feels like it was built to endure. Her center cockpit gives a great sense of protection, especially in rough conditions, and her moderate displacement and balanced rig make her steady and forgiving offshore. She's not the quickest boat around, but she's efficient and easy to handle, especially short-handed. Below decks, it's like stepping into a Scandinavian cabin. Warm woods, great insulation, and a layout that's comfortable at sea and at anchor. There's ample storage, which makes long-term cruising realistic without compromise. The systems are thoughtfully installed and accessible, a big plus for self-sufficient sailors. The Najad 441 is ideal for couples or small crews planning extended passages or full-time live-aboard life. She's a boat that offers peace of mind when you're hundreds of miles from land. A real blend of durability and livability. The Alubat Ovni 435 is built for sailors who want to go anywhere, literally. With her aluminum hull and lifting keel, she's uniquely capable of both high-latitude adventures and skinny water explorations. I met a French sailor who had taken his from Norway to Patagonia, stopping in places most cruisers wouldn't even consider. He said it felt like having a passport to the world. She's tough as nails, no worries about coral heads or floating debris, but she also sails well. In moderate to strong wind, the Ovni 435 tracks beautifully, and the ability to raise the keel gives you real flexibility with handling and anchoring. Down below, she's practical and robust. You won't find luxury finishes, but you will find solid construction, smart layouts, and gear that's easy to service. She's designed by people who clearly understand what life at sea is really like. For adventurous cruisers, especially those looking to explore off the beaten path or handle extreme conditions, the Alubat Ovni 435 is one of the most capable and confidence-inspiring boats out there. The Island Packet 38 is like your favorite pair of boots, rugged, reliable, and comfortable for the long haul. She's got that full keel and solid build that make her feel steady in big seas, and her wide beam provides loads of living space for a boat under 40 feet. I've sailed one through the Bahamas and remember how forgiving she felt in light chop and heavy squalls alike. She's not going to win you any races, but that's not what she's built for. The motion is gentle, and the cockpit is deep and secure, which really adds to the comfort offshore. Below, she's a cozy space to live in, plenty of teak, generous storage, a smart U-shaped galley, and a real sense of home. Systems access is generally straightforward, and she carries enough tankage to keep you away from marinas for a good while. The Island Packet 38 attracts cruisers who value safety, comfort, and simplicity. She's a boat that lets you slow down and really soak in the cruising lifestyle. If you're planning long-distance sailing at a relaxed pace, this boat will look after you every nautical mile. The Shannon 43 is a boat built with blue water passage making at its core. She's a heavy, full-keel cutter that doesn't flinch when the weather turns ugly. I crewed on one during a North Atlantic delivery, and even with confused seas and gusts topping 50 knots, she just shouldered through it all like a seasoned old sailor. Her design is traditional, but every element serves a purpose. Deck layouts that keep you safe, sail plans that adapt well to changing conditions, and a hull that's stable in big swells. Below decks, she's like a floating cottage. Rich wood tones, a practical layout, and little touches that show she was built by people who really go offshore. Things like deep fiddles, handholds everywhere, and a secure galley. She's not a light air flyer, but she's trustworthy when it counts. Maintenance access is excellent, and owners often keep them for decades because they're just that good. The Shannon 43 is the kind of boat that makes you feel like you can take on the world. Slowly, maybe, but surely. For serious sailors looking for a capable and character-rich home on the sea, she's a gem. The Cape George 36 is pure nautical romance with a backbone of solid practicality. She's got that timeless clipper bow and classic lines that turn heads everywhere she drops anchor. But beneath those good looks is a boat built for the big stuff. Full keel, heavy displacement, and a hull shape that loves the open ocean. I met a couple who'd cruised one from Alaska to the South Pacific, and they said she was the best decision they ever made. She's not fast, but she's kind. The motion is smooth, and she doesn't complain when things get lumpy. Inside, it feels like stepping back into a different era. Polished wood, brass fittings, and a layout that just works when the sea gets up. She's roomy for her length, and everything feels solid and purposeful. The Cape George 36 is for the sailor who values tradition, who's not in a hurry, and who wants a boat with as much heart as hull. She's the kind of companion you could sail around the world with and still look forward to coming aboard every day. The Baba 40 is one of those boats that's easy to fall in love with. She's got that unmistakable Pacific Northwest charm, rounded lines, canoe stern, and a hefty feel that screams blue water. I got to sail one down the coast of Baja, and I was struck by how secure and balanced she felt in a following sea. She's a full-keel cruiser with a cutter rig, which makes her versatile in all sorts of conditions and easy to manage, even short-handed. She's not built for speed, but she's built to last. Down below, it's like stepping into a warm cabin. Rich teak everywhere, smart layout, and a sense of coziness that makes long passages actually feel restful. There's ample tankage and storage, and systems are set up with simplicity in mind, which is gold when you're fixing things 1,000 miles from the nearest chandlery. The Baba 40 has a real following, and it's easy to see why. She's a dependable, character-rich cruiser that feels like home, no matter where in the world you are. The Rustler 36 is one of those boats that just feels right under sail. Stiff, sea kindly, and built to handle just about anything. I remember watching one cross Biscay in some truly messy weather while we tucked into a harbor. She rode the swell like a pro, looking graceful and confident even when everything else was getting knocked around. She's got a long fin keel and a skeg-hung rudder, giving her both stability and responsiveness. She's compact by modern standards, but what she lacks in space, she more than makes up for in capability. Below decks, she's beautifully finished. Classic styling with just enough modern touches to keep things comfortable. You won't find huge cabins or acres of countertop, but you will find a solid, practical layout that works at sea. The Rustler 36 is for sailors who want a boat that sails beautifully, looks elegant, and can take a pounding without blinking. She's not just a cruiser. She's a proper sailor's boat. The Caliber 40 LRC, long-range cruiser, is one of those rare boats that hits the sweet spot between rugged offshore ability and live-aboard comfort. She's got a reputation for being tough, practical, and surprisingly spacious. I spent a few days aboard one while hopping through the windwards, and I was impressed by how easily she handled squalls and swell. The hull is strong and confidence-inspiring, with a fin keel and skeg-hung rudder that balance performance with protection. Tankage is one of her big selling points. Massive fuel and water capacity let you go further without relying on shore stops. Below, the layout is bright and roomy for a 40-footer, with a sensible galley, comfortable saloon, and proper sea berths. She's great for a couple planning serious voyaging or a small crew looking for a solid, capable platform to roam far and wide. The systems are user-friendly, and everything's laid out with the offshore sailor in mind. The Caliber 40 LRC is a boat that works hard and looks after her crew, a true partner for long-term cruising. The Ohlson 38 is a classic offshore cruiser with a cult following, and for good reason. Designed with a racer's heart but built like a cruiser, she's one of the most graceful and well-balanced boats I've ever had the pleasure of sailing. I crewed on one during a trip down the Portuguese coast, and I was amazed at how easily she sliced through choppy seas while holding a steady course. She's got a long fin keel and a sleek hull, which give her excellent speed and tracking, especially on a reach. Despite her vintage feel, she's a capable ocean-going boat with a lot of thought put into the design. Below decks, she's compact but efficient. Everything is where it should be, and there's just enough comfort to make extended trips realistic. What she lacks in modern volume, she makes up for in elegance and performance. The Ohlson 38 is for the sailor who loves to sail, who values the journey as much as the destination. She's not a floating condo, but she'll take you far and do it beautifully. Well, there you have it. 20 of the most reliable boats for serious blue water sailing. Whether you're dreaming of slipping lines and chasing the horizon, or you're already deep into your own voyaging story, these boats represent the kind of trust, endurance, and soul that long-distance cruising really demands. They're not just vessels, they're homes, partners, and sometimes even lifelines when the weather turns foul and lands a distant memory. I've had the joy of sailing alongside many of these and meeting the salty, fearless folks who call them home. Each one has a story, a journey, a set of hard-earned sea miles that prove they're up to the task. And the best part? None of them are perfect, and that's what makes them special. They're real boats for real sailors. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you've got a favorite from the list, or a boat you think deserves a place on it, drop it in the comments. I love hearing your stories and swapping tales from the sea. Until next time, fair winds, following seas, and may your anchor always come up clean. See you out there.